against injustice, their actions resonating far beyond their immediate communities and inspiring a broader movement for change. And a new genre of music, rock and roll, was capturing the hearts and minds of a generation. This vibrant, rebellious sound provided a soundtrack for the era, reflecting the youthful energy and desire for freedom that defined the times. 1957 would be a year of incredible triumphs and heartbreaking tragedies, a year that would leave an indelible mark on the world. From the heights of human achievement to the depths of social struggle, it was a time of profound transformation and enduring legacy. January 1957 saw the Cold War reach new heights. The world was divided into two major blocs, each vying for supremacy in every conceivable arena, from military might to technological advancements. The Soviet Union's successful launch of Sputnik 1 in October 1956 had sent shockwaves across the globe. This small satellite, no bigger than a beach ball, was the first man-made object to orbit the Earth, and it marked the dawn of the space age. The United States, caught off guard, scrambled to catch up in the space race. American scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, often around the clock, to develop their own satellite technology and launch capabilities. Sputnik, a small beeping satellite, became a symbol of Soviet technological prowess. It orbited the Earth every 96 minutes, sending a constant signal that could be picked up by radio operators around the world. The impact of Sputnik on American society was profound. News of the Soviet achievement dominated headlines, and the American public was gripped by a mix of awe and fear. It sparked a wave of anxiety and fear. People worried about the implications of Soviet dominance in space, fearing it could translate into military superiority. The possibility of Soviet missiles raining down from space seemed all too real. This fear was not unfounded, as the same technology that launched Sputnik could potentially be used to deliver nuclear warheads. The event also ignited a national debate about education and technology. Many Americans began to question whether the US education system was adequately preparing students for the challenges of the modern world. The US government poured money into science and engineering programs, determined to regain the technological edge. This led to significant investments in research and development, as well as a renewed focus on science education in schools across the country. February 1957 witnessed continued advancements in space exploration. Both the United States and the Soviet Union were making strides in rocket technology. The race to conquer space was on, fueled by Cold War competition and a thirst for scientific discovery. Meanwhile, the struggle for equality and justice was gaining momentum around the world. The civil rights movement in the United States was challenging segregation and discrimination. In Africa and Asia, nations were fighting for independence from colonial rule. The world was changing, and the demand for a more just and equitable society was growing louder. March 1957 saw a flurry of diplomatic activity as world leaders tried to navigate the complexities of the Cold War. There were talks of disarmament and peaceful coexistence, but suspicion and mistrust ran deep. Meanwhile, a new form of music was sweeping the globe, rock and roll. With its driving rhythms and rebellious spirit, rock and roll became the anthem of a generation. Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry and Little Richard were among the pioneers of this new sound, captivating audiences with their electrifying performances. Section 5. The space race heats up, civil rights gain ground. April 1957 saw the space race heat up. The United States was still reeling from the launch of Sputnik. Pressure was mounting on scientists and engineers to develop a rocket capable of matching the Soviet achievement. Meanwhile, the civil rights movement continued to gain momentum. Activists in the American South were organizing protests and demonstrations, demanding an end to segregation and discrimination. The world was watching as brave men and women stood up for their rights. Section 6. A world in flux. May 1957 was a time of great uncertainty and change. The Cold War continued to cast a long shadow over global affairs. The threat of nuclear war loomed large. The world seemed to be teetering on the brink. Yet amidst the tension, there were also signs of hope. The civil rights movement was making progress. New nations were emerging from colonial rule. The human spirit of resilience and the desire for a better future could not be extinguished. Section 7. Crossroads of Change. June 1957 was a pivotal month in the fight for civil rights. The eyes of the world were on Little Rock, Arkansas, where 9 African-American students attempted to integrate Central High School. Governor Orville Farbers called in the National Guard to prevent the students from entering the school. President Eisenhower responded by federalizing the Arkansas National Guard and sending in U.S. Army troops to escort the students to school. The Little Rock Nine became a symbol of the struggle for racial equality. Section 8. Summer of Tensions and Progress. The summer of 1957 was a time of both progress and setbacks. The Cold War continued to dominate international relations. The space race intensified, and the fight for civil rights continued to rage. Despite the challenges, there were also signs of hope. The Civil Rights Act of 1957, the first civil rights legislation since Reconstruction, was passed by Congress and signed into law by President Eisenhower. The act established the Civil Rights Section of the Justice Department and empowered federal prosecutors to obtain court injunctions against interference with the right to vote. Section 9. Triumph and Tragedy. October 1957 brought a stunning achievement in space exploration. The Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite to orbit the Earth. The event marked the beginning of the space age and ignited a fierce competition between the Soviet Union and the United States. Tragedy struck in December 1957 when a fire swept through Our Lady of the Angels School in Chicago, Illinois. The fire claimed the lives of 92 students and 3 nuns. The tragedy shocked the nation and led to improved fire safety regulations in schools. Section 10, 1957, a year etched in history. 1957 was a year of profound change and upheaval. It was a time when the world seemed to be spinning faster, with events unfolding at a breakneck pace, leaving an indelible mark on history. It was a year that witnessed both incredible triumphs and heartbreaking tragedies. From scientific breakthroughs to social upheavals, the events of 1957 were a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of humanity. The world stood at a crossroads, grappling with the complexities of the Cold War, the struggle for civil rights, and the dawn of the space age. Each of these monumental events played a crucial role in shaping the global landscape. The events of 1957 would shape the course of history for decades to come. The decisions made and the actions taken during this pivotal year had far-reaching consequences that are still felt today. The launch of Sputnik spurred the space race, leading to incredible advancements in science and technology. This tiny satellite, orbiting the Earth, ignited a fierce competition between superpowers, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. The civil rights movement continued to gain momentum, paving the way for a more just and equitable society. The bravery and determination of individuals like the Little Rock Nine inspired a nation to confront its own prejudices and strive for equality. And rock and roll became the soundtrack of a generation, challenging social norms and inspiring countless artists. Icons like Elvis Presley not only revolutionized music, but also influenced fashion, attitudes, and lifestyles. 1957 was a year that would never be forgotten, a year etched in the annals of history. Its legacy lives on, reminding us of the power of change and the enduring spirit of humanity.